A very long time ago in a small village in the great Hausa kingdom, there was a beautiful maiden by the name Hadiza who lived with her mother Hadiza and her younger sister Zainab. One day, the Saki from a neighboring village sent a marriage proposal for Hadiza which was gladly accepted by her family. And so, the marriage rites were conducted according to the Hausa customs and traditions, with the paying of sodoki and the recitation of prayers. After the celebrations, the Saki and his procession returned to their village to prepare for their bride's arrival. After some days, it was now time for Hadiza, the new bride, to journey to her husband's village. But before Hadiza could embark on this journey, her mother dressed her up very beautifully in the finest Ankara cloth, applied henna to her hands and feet, and adorned her with very beautiful gold jewelry that had been passed down through generations. Hajia Kanda also gave Hadiza some important instructions and a strict warning never to stray from the path and that she was never, under any circumstances, to go near or drink from a particular well that lay along their route, a well known to be enchanted by the spirits. And so she embarked on this journey escorted by her sister Zainab and her closest friend Fatima. On their way to Hadiza's husband's village, under the scorching Sahelian sun, Fatima called Hadiza aside and told her that she didn't look beautiful enough as a bride. "Is this how you plan to present yourself to your husband's house? You are looking really plain with this simple adornment of yours. See how the dust has settled on your face," Fatima told her with false concern. So Fatima suggested that they go to the nearby well, the same enchanted well Hadiza's mother had warned her about, to refresh herself and wash her face. Unfortunately, Hadiza had forgotten all her mother's warnings about the well in the heat of the moment, so she considered what her friend said and agreed to go and wash her face, hoping that she would look more radiant after doing so. While Zainab waited for them under the shade of a baobab tree, they went to the well. On reaching the well, Fatima instructed Hadiza to remove all her beautiful clothes and jewelry so they wouldn't get wet, which she did accordingly. But just as Hadiza was about to lean over to draw some water to wash her face, Fatima pushed her into the deep well, then quickly put on all her clothes and jewelry and returned to where Hadiza's sister waited. When Zainab asked about Hadiza's whereabouts, Fatima lied to her and told her that Hadiza had accidentally fallen into the enchanted well. "Inna lillahi!" Zainab exclaimed and broke down in tears, weeping bitterly for her beloved sister. But Fatima silenced her harshly and sternly warned her to stop crying as they must continue on their journey. Moreover, she threatened that if Zainab told anyone about what had happened, she would meet the same fate. From that moment onward, Fatima declared she was to be considered the bride instead of Hadiza. At the palace, just as Fatima was entering with the wedding procession, the Saki saw her and wondered that she was not at all like the gentle, graceful maiden he had seen and chosen to marry. Her features were different, her manner was harsh, and her beauty seemed artificial. But according to the ancient laws of the land, a king must not reject a bride so presented to him, especially after the marriage rites had been completed. Now installed as the new queen in the palace, Fatima turned Hadiza's sister Zainab into her personal slave who was to carry out all her most difficult tasks. So Zainab would go and fetch water from the very well where her sister had disappeared every day, a task that filled her with both sorrow and hope. And every time she went, she would sing this mournful song. "Hadiza, ya you water, eine kijk. Fatima Turki, ya ola. Ruwa ya doki, ya konota. Koda ki manta de enai, ya you water. Hadiza my sister, where are you? Fatima has deceived you, O Allah. The water has taken you, my beloved. Don't forget me, my sister." As soon as she finished singing, she would hear movement from within the well, and out would emerge her sister in the form of a water spirit, shimmering and ethereal. Hadiza would rise from the depths in her mystical form, and they would talk and embrace while Zainab wept. Hadiza would console her sister because she knew the hardship she was enduring under Fatima's cruel treatment. But then Hadiza told her sister not to come and see her again because in a few days' time she would be fully transformed into a water spirit and the well would finally become her eternal dwelling place. Nevertheless, Zainab still went to the well the next day and the day after that, unable to bear the thought of losing her sister forever. And on both days, Hadiza told her the same things she had told her before, that her transformation was nearly complete and their meetings must end. And so it was that the following day, Zainab could no longer bear the burden of keeping the secret of what had happened to her sister. Her heart was breaking, and she knew that if she didn't act soon, Hadiza would be lost forever. So she went to the Saki and told him everything that had transpired, how Fatima had pushed Hadiza into the enchanted well, how she had stolen her clothes and jewelry, how she had threatened to kill her if she disclosed what had happened, and how she had falsely declared herself the bride instead of Hadiza. After the Saki had heard all that was told, he was both greatly surprised and filled with righteous anger. The pieces of the puzzle now fit together, why his bride had seemed so different, so harsh and unkind. But then he immediately began planning how to rescue his true bride before it was too late. The following day, the Saki, the Islamic scholars, the village elders, and many villagers all followed Zainab to the enchanted well. There, the Saki ordered her to sing her song again. And so she sang. Hadiza, ya yuwata, eine kaik. Fatima Turki, ya ola. Ruwa ya doki, ya konota. Koda ki manta de enai, ya yuwata. And to the amazement of everyone present, except Zainab, a beautiful water spirit emerged from the depth of the well, glowing with an otherworldly light. Only this time, Hadiza was not aware that the whole village was present. She was about to lovingly scold her sister for coming again when she realized that they were not alone. But before she could retreat back into the well, she was gently captured by the Islamic scholars who began reciting prayers and verses from the Quran to break the enchantment. When they all returned to the village, special arrangements were made for Hadiza. The scholars continued their prayers while a purifying fire was lit around her to completely remove the well's mystical water from her body and break the spiritual bonds that held her. Soon, through the power of prayer and the strength of true love, she became fully human again and was restored to herself. After Hadiza was restored, she requested to see her former friend Fatima, who was attempting to escape because she already knew that her evil deed had been exposed. She was brought before the Saki and the true queen, and the Saki pronounced judgment upon her. Fatima was to be banished from all Hausa lands and sent into the wilderness for the rest of her life, never to return to any civilized place. And so Hadiza and the Saki lived happily, ruling their people with wisdom and kindness, while Zainab was honored as a beloved sister and given a place of respect in the palace. The enchanted well was blessed by the scholars and became a source of pure water for the village, its dark magic broken forever by the power of love, truth, and faith. Concern labori, care. That is the story has ended.